My name is Brad Blakeman, Blakeman, and I'm a director of SportsFansCoalition.org. Chairman Holvey, Vice Chairman Gilliam, Vice Chairman Riley, members of the Consumer Protection and Government Accountability Committee, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to address you. The question that brings me before you is a simple one. Should Oregon sports fans be able to watch on TV in the comfort of their homes, their home team play their games, whether it be in their living rooms, at their favorite restaurant, or their favorite bar? When taxpayers of Oregon help to make sports here a reality, the answer should clearly be yes. I'm from Washington, D.C., and I came here today because we started a 501c4. It's an organization that fights for sports fans. Heretofore, sports fans have been left on the sidelines when they should really be on the field. Decisions are being made in their behalfs, and yet they have no voice. And we see here, right here in your home state, that people, through no fault of their own, have no choice. They're not able to see their favorite teams play. I have lived and I've breathed politics and public policy for decades. I've served as a senior member of President George W. Bush's staff. I teach at Georgetown University, Public Affairs, Politics, and International Studies. I'm also a regular contributor to Fox News, MSNBC, and other television networks. I write for Politico, U.S. News. So I'm very involved in issues of the day, and what is critical to me is fairness and equity. We're not here to overturn contracts or interfere with contracts. What we're here to do is fight for ordinary citizens who, through no fault of their own, cannot enjoy their favorite pastimes. Sports Fans Coalition, as I have told you, is a nonprofit advocacy group with a single mission: to give the sports fans a seat at the table whenever public policy impacting sports is being made in their behalf. We have bipartisan board of directors. I served the Bush White House. I'm a Republican conservative. And our chairman, David Goodfriend, is a Democrat and a former member of the Clinton administration. We have a CEO on our board, a sports writer, and we have fans from all over who have joined our effort. Our members are sports fans from around the United States. We all have one thing in common: we love sports, and we think that fans should be better represented. We are proud to announce that just this week, Sarah Moon of Portland became the chair of the Sports Fans Coalition's new Portland, Oregon chapter. Sarah is a diehard Blazers fan, a season ticket holder, and an all-around sports enthusiast. Here in Oregon, Portland Trail Blazers have been shut out from watching their favorite games, their home games, and in 2007, the Trail Blazers apparently entered into a 10-year deal with Comcast worth about $120 million to carry Trail Blazers games on Comcast Sportsnet. At the time, fans in Oregon were told that they eventually would be able to see their home games regardless of who provided the service. Oregon sports fans rightfully expected to be able to watch their Trail Blazers playing home games in Portland. After all, isn't it the fans that helped build the stadium, provided the access, rights of way? Portland contributed $34.5 million to help build the Rose Garden. Today, however, almost 3 years after the Comcast Blazers deal, only Comcast cable subscribers and a few subscribers to small cable systems can watch each and every Blazers game at home. This year, for example, of over the 80 home games, 60 will be available only to Comcast and a few other subscribers via Comcast Sportsnet. So if you live in a neighborhood, as Jeff just pointed out, that's served by another company, you cannot watch your Trail Blazers play at home. If you live in a rural area, which is only provided by Dish Network or DirecTV, you can't watch Trail Blazers games. You have no choice. Even the mother of Sarah Moon, who's our new Oregon chair, is impacted. She lives in a rural area south of Portland. She does not have access to Comcast, which means she has zero access to Blazers games. As you can imagine, this is extremely disappointing for her. Fans that live many, many miles away from the stadium can't come because the games are sold out. It's not as if they're trying to get people to come to the stadiums to watch the team. It's quite the contrary. Oregon sports fans deserve better. Now, it just happens to be that Comcast wants something from you at the moment. On January 28th of 2010, Comcast, GE, and NBC Universal filed papers in Washington, D.C. asking the government, the federal government, to approve Comcast acquiring NBC Universal. The federal government is not only the only one who can weigh in on this transaction, however. Your state, through the Office of the Attorney General, can be heard on the proposed merger under Oregon antitrust laws. Oregon could move to block the deal. I'm not suggesting that they should, but they certainly have a stake in whether or not the merger goes through. In other words, the state of Oregon, Comcast, right now is asking permission, your permission, for the approval of their merger. Sports Fans Coalition would like to pose a simple question. If Comcast is asking Oregon state government and the federal government for permission to acquire NBC Universal, why can't Trailblazers fans in Oregon ask to see their games at home? Comcast might make a number of arguments against us, even proposing this question. For example, they might say that there is a private contract negotiated between Comcast and the Trailblazers. You have no right to interfere with that contract. That may be so, that we are not signatories or parties to the contract. We were certainly beneficiaries of that contract. Conservative Republicans like me fight for the right of freedom of contract. But right now, Comcast is asking the people of this state for something it wants, approval of their merger. The people of this state have every right to ask Comcast for something they promised to do but never did: provide home games, regardless of whether they are the provider. Comcast has been known to bring up DirecTV and NFL's Sunday Ticket as an example of a sports exclusive that somehow justifies Comcast's behavior in your state and elsewhere. I say not so. Your local sports fans are not able to watch in the comfort of their own homes their home team playing home games. Sunday Ticket is for out-of-town market games, not games that are played within the market. It has nothing to do with watching your home team playing home games. Sports Fans Coalition believes that the local fan should watch their local team play at home, regardless of how the fan gets the service. Finally, let me make a point. Some say that sports issues are too frivolous for legislatures or committees like yourself. You have more important things to do. The government has already heavily involved in sports. As I mentioned, government funds were used to build the Rose Garden right here in New York State. There are sweeping federal statutes and exemptions for professional sports leagues. Clearly, legislatures and governments historically have found sports to be fair game, to look into and keep an eye on for the benefit of the people who put you here. It is about time the fans get off the bench and take the field and fight for their rights to enjoy America's favorite pastimes, whether it's in their homes or their local stadiums. When issues of impact hurt fans, it's the obligation of government to fight in their behalf. So let's face it, the sports media economy is one of the largest of all private sector economies. It is larger than the automobile industry. Sports represents tens of billions of dollars annually to our U.S. economy, and I dare say your state economy. Americans these days want to see their government work in their behalf, more so than ever, watching every single dime of taxpayer money. And the little time that they have to enjoy their local sports is something that they cherish, and that's something that we intend to fight for. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to address you.